Hey everybody, welcome back. Before we design our watch stands today, I thought I would just show you the microwave door handle real quick that we designed a couple of videos ago. There it is. Works perfectly. As soon as we can get our kitchen done, we'll have our microwave in place. And I may print one in a slightly different color, but the design sure is perfect, and I'll get that on Thingiverse in case anybody else has a similar microwave they need a handle for. Catch you back at the computer. Okay, so we're back in front of my messy workstation, and let me tell you what I'm trying to do here today. I want to take this design here. Let me focus the camera real quick. See if we can get this. There we go. I want to take this basic design here that I found on Thingiverse, which has the expanding size. And what I want to do is I want to remove the teeth, and instead of the ridge and the valley for it, I'm going to put a tab and a slot so that it can't come apart this way once you put it together. And then my idea is to put a spring, two posts and a spring in the middle so it pushes it apart and holds the watch in place. And then to use that basic part for three different things I want to build. A stand like this to hold the watch, a box, a storage box to hold the watch, and also a winder for automatic watches. So let's move over to Fusion and let's get at least the first part of this done. Okay, we have Fusion 360 open and we have a clean slate. I have done a little bit before we started this. Let me show it to you. I'm going to come to modify and change parameters, and I have put in a bunch of parameters. I'm not even sure I'm going to use all of these, but we're going to use some of them. All I have to do is remember what I called them all. So I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to start with a circle. So C for circle, and this parameter I called circle OD. I made a circle ID too. I don't believe I'm going to be using the ID. I think I'm going to use an offset instead. Circle OD and enter, and that gives me a 44 millimeter circle. I'm going to hit O for offset. And what I'm going to start out with is a U-shaped. You saw the part from Thingiverse I showed you. I need a U-shape to begin with. So I'm going to start with a circle. And now I've done an offset. It's asking me what curve I want to offset. I've only got the one. And I created a parameter for this called offset. And okay. And that gives me a 7 millimeter offset. I'm only going to use this left side of it. So I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to put my pointer down in the center just so I'm locked in on that center line. Click above it and below it, doesn't really matter where. Hit escape to get rid of line. I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I am going to extrude this up, and I believe I called this part thickness. And okay. And here's the first part of it. Now I need to extend this out straight. So if I used Q to press pull, it would pull these surfaces around in that circle. If I use E to extrude, I'm not exactly sure why it does it this way, but I've discovered it. If I use E to extrude, now I will pull the legs out in the direction I want to go, which is straight. So the amount I want to go out is called leg length. And there we go. There we go. Okay, so now here's an interesting thing about this thing. I struggled for a while to figure out a way to make the two separate halves symmetrical, and I eventually gave up on it because I thought it would be a lot easier, and I thought I had some other things in mind for that as well, and I just had to give up on it because it made me crazy and I didn't achieve it. So I need to make cuts on this part and on the other part. And on this part, I'm going to make them on the inside. On the other part, I'm going to make them on the outside. One side needs a tab, one side needs a slot. Really would have loved to have made this symmetrical, but you know what? Can't always get what you want. So I'm going to hit R for rectangle. Oops. First thing I have to do is create a sketch. I'm going to create a sketch over on this part here. I'm going to hit R for rectangle. And we are going to make this down like this. Now it's going to be the full length. So I don't need to dimension that dimension. This one wants to be, and I called this slide cut depth, I believe, and it should be half the thickness, and it is. And now I need to press Q to press pull, probably change it to extrude on me because it thinks I'm going the other way, and I'm going to come back till I get to this line right there, which should be 26, and it is, and say okay to that. There's my cut there. I'm going to do the same thing to this leg over here. R for rectangle, all the way down to the edge, and it's got 3.5 in there for me, but I still want to call it slide cut depth. And you see I have others in there, other parameters in there for the slide cut as well, and I don't really need them. Enter. Q to press pull, and we're going back until we hit that line, and it should say 26, and it does. All right, so here's one side of this. Now, thinking about this, I need a slot. I don't need a slot on this side. I need a tab on this side. It's the other side that I'm going to need the slot. And one of the reasons why I originally wanted to make these symmetrical if I could was so that I could just duplicate it, so I wouldn't have to make a video showing you how to make one side and a video showing you how I made the other side as well. But I'm not going to get away with that, so I'm not going to fight it anymore. So we're going to create a sketch again. We're going to come to this side. Let's tip it a bit so I can see it. And we're going to use a rectangle again, and I'm going to come here, and I'm going to come here, and this first one is going to be called tab length, and I'm going to tab to the other side, and I never should have called it tab because it's making me crazy. And this is going to be called tab width, I believe, and I am correct, and enter. And now I need to center that, and I'm just going to do D for dimension, and I'm just going to give it a center, and I believe it needs to be 11 to center it, and it does. And now I'm going to Q to press pull, probably going to change it to extrude on me. Sometimes it's smarter than I am, and sometimes it's not. And I'm going to come out tab height. And okay, and I'm not convinced that tab height is where I want to be. I want to be 3.5 millimeters. So I'm going to come back to modify and change parameters, and I'm going to find tab height right there. It's set at 4. It wants to be 3.5, not 4. 3.5, enter. Okay, and that would have changed my tab height dimension there. All right, so let's put the tab on the other side. So we're going to sketch on this surface and tip it so we can see it. R for rectangle. And this is going to be tab width. And hit tab. That's why it's making me crazy, folks. Too many tabs. And this is going to be tab length. And enter. And now we're going to hit D for dimension, and let's dimension this. I probably should have drawn a line and used a construction line to put it in the middle, but I'm going to do it this way now because I don't want to add one more thing and it won't work right and make me start the video over again, because I think I've done that 3 times now. Okay, so 11, and Q to press pull, and we're going to come out tab height. And okay, all right, so these tabs are going to fit into slots that are going to be on the other side, and this is what's going to prevent it from coming apart as the spring pushes it. Now I only need one more thing on this part, then we're going to be done. Yay. You're probably as happy as I am. I need a post for my spring, and I have kicked this around and kicked this around, and I don't have the spring in my hand that I want to use yet. So I've had to guess at the dimensions and to make my parameters, but I can always change the parameters later. So first thing I need a way to draw on this back surface, and you can't really create a sketch on a curved surface easily in Fusion. There are ways to do it, but I don't like them. So I'm going to construct an offset plane, and I want to use this plane, this plane, and I want to move it back, and let's tip it up. I want to move it back until it just touches the top of that circular part, and that's right there, and we're going to say okay. And now I am going to create a sketch on that offset plane, and I'm going to hit C for circle. I'm going to put it out here someplace, and I put parameters in for this too. I say I'll probably wind up changing them, but they're there. And I called this, God, what did I call this? You'd think I put the word spring in it. Post, that's what I called it. Post height. Spring post. I should have called it something to do with spring, but I didn't. All right, so now we need to get this in the center. And I could probably, let's just dimension it. So D for dimension, we're going to go here, we're going to go here. This is going to be part thickness divided by 2. And we're going to dimension from here to here. And that's going to be, what is that going to be? I could make a line and put it on the center, but you would think it would be, it's like it wants to, oh, it's going to be circle diameter divided by 2, isn't it? Duh. Circle OD divided by 2. There we go. Okay. Q to press pull. It's going to think this is a cut because the outer parts of the circle are below it. So we're going to pull this out. We're going to change cut to join. And our distance is going to be post height. Post height. There we go. And okay. Now one more thing. We want to sketch on, I need this. My idea is I don't want a spring that travels that full length, because I think it, unless I somehow make it captive, and I may have to wind up making it captive, I sincerely hope not. But in order to cut the size of the spring down, I'm going to make this post stepped. So the first step is going to be the base where the spring sits. The second step is going to be what holds the spring in place. So I'm going to create a sketch on this surface here. I'm going to make another circle. I could have offset the previous one, but let's do it this way. And this is going to be post diameter small, because I'm going to need to change these. And we're going to E to extrude. And we're going to pick that center, and this is post height small, and okay. So there you have part number 1, and I believe this is, it certainly isn't perfect. I'll probably wind up changing the dimensions a little bit. I don't really think I'm going to fillet anything. You know, I hate sharp edges, but I really think this is going to work the way it is, even though I'm not convinced the sizes are correct yet, especially for the spring post. But there you have it. We'll come back in another day or 2 or 3, and we'll make the other side of it. The other side is going to have this cut down here. It's going to have it on the outside, and instead of posts, there'll be the slot, these tabs instead of the there'll be a slot that it fits in. I'll tell you, with all the tab business going on, I can't even hardly talk anymore. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. If I have helped you out, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, maybe even hit notifications, and click my links below to go to GearBest and buy lots and lots of fun stuff. Thanks, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.